Hey guys, important video because I was wrong in my estimation of probabilities. I made a video titled I think it still has a high probability to double test the bottom, and actually I changed my mind completely on that. I think that's just wrong. There is no high chance to double test the bottom. There is a high chance, however, to go back to 60% undervaluation of the trend line. Yes, huh? That's probable, but not to double test the bottom. Huh? Why? Well, double testing the bottom never happened in the past. Um, I have the description here, but double testing the bottom, we just went to test the bottom at 3,800 Bitcoin. We went around 115 billion market cap. It was short-lived. It was a flash crash of 5 minutes, but that's well always the case. That's how bottoms are formed, and you get a V recovery out of it very quickly within hours. Um, so sorry, within minutes. So that was what happened. So we went very close to the bottom that was set over a year ago at 3,150 and 100 billion market cap. We reached that just 2 months back, and we went 15% higher. We bottomed at 3,800 Bitcoin. That's 15% higher than the actual bottom of 3,150. And when you look at total market cap, we went. This is wrong. This is wrong. Sorry, it's 20% higher. But in the previous cycle, it was 30% higher in 2015. So now it was only 20% higher. That's exactly what, we expected, or I expected. Testing the bottom stronger in this cycle than in previous cycle. That happened. Also for the total market cap, we only went 15% higher. We bottomed at 115 billion when Bitcoin went to 3,800. And so the bottom before a year ago was 100 billion, so also like 15% higher only. So that's actually coming very close to it. You have to know that we just bounced before that we come from 800 billion. We bounced at 100 billion. That was the low. Then we went back up to 360 billion or so, and then we went back down to 115 billion. And so this is actually testing the bottom. That happened. It happened here. I recorded it, and also I didn't buy there. Sorry, testing the bottom. I failed to buy there because it was, I was buying, but I was buying other coins, not Bitcoins. I was not interested in this Bitcoin even at that price. I was interested in Bitcoin Cash and Ethereum, and I bought that at the bottom. So I'm happy with that, but not much because I was mainly focused on Bitcoin Cash, but I expected to go lower, and that was a problem because the previous when the actual bottom was set, it was a lot lower for Bitcoin Cash. Do I have that recorded here? Yes, here. The previous bottom, the actual bottom here, Bitcoin Cash was 75, Ethereum 83, and Bitcoin Core this. So, what are the reasons that I think double testing the bottom is very unlikely to happen? Is because, it didn't happen in the past. We never double tested the bottom in previous cycles. If you look at what happened there, is that we tested the bottom here in previous cycle 2015, and 1 year later we tested it, but it was 30% higher. Actually, 8 months later. And in the cycle before, testing of the bottom, actually, what happened here? Let me check. Yeah, I'm not going to research the exact prices that were set here. We can clearly see also a double testing of the bottom. There is no triple testing of the bottom. Also not here. Other arguments are that we saw a record high volume when the bottom was tested 2 months ago. That also means it's very likely that it was a trend reversal from bearish to bullish. So that lowers the chance also. If the volume would not be high, then okay, the chance is higher that we might double test the bottom, but the volume was very high. And also, we saw a serious crisis. We're still in it. It's a medical crisis, but they transformed it into an economical crisis, and with severe impacts on the economy. People are locking the population up at home, forcefully shutting down many businesses for many months. Really has the effect on people that they reevaluate things because they have lots of time to do so, and that means that they focus, they think more, and they stop old habits more and pick up new, better things. And that applies everywhere, but especially to innovation. The innovation sector sees much faster adoption, and crypto is a part of that, and so that accelerates innovation and adoption of innovation. So that also really impacts the chance that we are going to drag our feet in crypto, and we're gonna double test the bottom for the first time. That actually becomes unlikely due to this crisis. So all these reasons, and I have to admit, also the fact that I cleaned up the sheet a lot here, and I do allocation also only based on now Kelly recommendation, and not the other ones. Before I was basing allocation on how much are we undervalued versus a trend line, what is the MVRV ratio. But actually, that's wrong. It doesn't matter. You should allocate only based on the Kelly criterion, because if you over allocate, you're going to lose money, and you may over allocate if you use other criteria to decide how much to allocate. So it's just not the rational thing to do. So I canceled that. So I only use the risk reward, or the probability it goes up with how much, this calculation of expected return that you do with the Kelly criterion, and then you divide it by the odds, the upwards potential, and then you get a certain Kelly criterion allocation as recommended as of today. That's 38% for crypto. If we reach this next step, that would be 80%. But of course, you cannot do full Kelly. That's very risky. So I do 70% Kelly at these stages, and that means currently recommended allocation is 26% for crypto and 56% in the next step. And that means that I canceled my plans to buy at higher valuation. At $200 I had here, and Ethereum I had like 100. What was it? Pretty high, $160. But I changed that to the next step that I want to buy, which is considerably lower than that. And so I believe that, well, actually, if I increase the probability for a double bottom, the problem is that, let's say 30%, that I only get a recommended allocation of less than 50%, which I don't want. I do want to go to a majority allocation crypto again. But the only way to do that is to lower the probability that we double test the bottom. Okay, that's a little bit reverse engineering, very dangerous, but it does make sense to me. Like, yes, indeed, the probability of a double testing of the bottom is much lower than I only said in the previous video. It is indeed much lower. It's an event that never happened in the past has a very low probability, and if there are other arguments that really make it even more unlikely, then it becomes a very low probability. So by lowering it to 20%, actually I get a recommended allocation of a majority, which is what I do want. If we do reach a much more probable scenario, indeed, is that we go not double test the bottom, but that we go to 60% undervaluation. That is very likely to happen. From the Trollo trend line, we went to 60% valuation versus the trend line first cycle, 50% about on average, with a bottom of 40% in the cycle of 2015. So the next cycle likely lower highs in overvaluation, higher lows in undervaluation. If this pattern continues, which is probable, we will actually go sideways, not at 50%, but probably if this was like 40% undervaluation, 50% undervaluation, that will probably be 60% undervaluation here that we go sideways, which means that's 40% versus the trend line. and 60% undervaluation, and that's what I say as the next target. 60% undervaluation to trend line is likely to happen over the next year and a half, actually quite often. But of course, the longer it takes, the higher that will be in fiat value. But as of today, that means since the trend line is 383, but let's say we can get there at the soonest in a month, then the trend line will be a little bit higher, and that means minus 60% is under 55 billion. That's likely to happen still, huh? How likely? Well, I think it's 60% chance. I wouldn't really like be too confident in that also. But it is certainly a likely scenario, huh, where you can actually reserve, where it is rational to wait for it to happen before investing more. And um, yeah, those that's the update. I'm going to keep it short today. It's a very important one, I believe, and I hope you enjoyed it.